And I welcome everybody here tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you couldn't make it, you'll get the recorded version of it tomorrow. I noticed that Marshall called her and I didn't reach her. Dorothy and I last week we took a little bit of time and spent it with Marcia, and just like Dorothy's talking about what she's going through with her mother, I think with Marcia, it just everything piled in on her with Dick being as sick as she is, and once we talked to her, which Dorothy had the most impact on her, which was great. Marcia's gone to the doctor and she's doing much better. But it's nice to have this circle of friends that we can rely on when we got nowhere else to turn. You got anything you want to say about that, Dorothy? I know I had wished Marcia was here tonight because she is doing so much better, and I know that most of us were all concerned. And even Dick is doing better.
Good. I became very concerned after hearing her speak at the last Zoom, and I got on the phone with her, and we had a very good conversation. She's a very strong woman. She just has to check things off that have to be taken care of, including her health.
Yeah.
So, we had a very good talk.
Yeah, well, I really didn't have the answers so much as you did, and that's what makes it nice to have a community as opposed to just one person who's trying to do more than they're capable of. So I was really glad when you intervened there, and it really did make a difference.
We put our faith in general doctor that we've had all of our life, and when we have a problem as serious as diabetes, we need to have a specialist. And that's what I did with my husband. I've lost him, I know, but when the doctor said you need someone to teach you how to give you insulin, I thought, he's not the right doctor. So I made sure that I found a doctor that was an endocrinologist and was going to beat him up.
Well, I know Marcia has done that. Yeah.
And
What?
you have to be diligent. If you look at what's happened to me, and they just straight out lied to me. So, you gotta look into stuff and not assume just because they're a doctor that they're being straight or they're telling everything you need to know.
Don, you're so right there, and a little bit of this is that the doctors were overlooking how Marcia was digressing, and Marcia was putting her whole faith in what they were telling her. You're absolutely right. That was a big part of what was going on. So that was really nice to see that outcome last week and see the good that we were able to do. And I think that's what we're all here for, is to help each other. And that was our first incident of where we actually could make a difference and see it in the process. So it makes me feel good about why we're here. And everybody in the room is so kind, thoughtful, and they're contributing so much. I'm loving all of the words that are being spoken inside the room. We're going to go back to our little gathering of friends because I missed it last week. So this is the incomplete sentence I came up with today. That's not the easiest.
I'm here.
Who's here?
Marcia.
Oh, Marcia, I'm so glad you're here, honey.
We had to go look for something for Harold.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Kids.
Well, Dorothy and I was just explaining that everybody see how good she is? Give her a hand.
Looks better.
I was telling them I was really wishing you were here tonight because of the change that was in you. But go ahead, I'll let you talk. We just all were concerned, so we'd like to hear from you.
You know how we have several times had things about taking control of our health, and we had a right to ask questions of the doctor and that. And I kind of guess I just forgot that. And a lot of things have happened, and I was just getting really sick and stuff. And I really was having a rough time accepting, Dick's illness and stuff. And I thank Connie and Dorothy so much, because Dorothy hit the nail on the head of what was my problem. And once I realized that I could start taking steps to change it. And it has been a much better week.
Good.
Yeah. Yay. I'm
Very
glad for
good.
that too.
It's amazing what stress does.
Oh my gosh. You know, when I was a little girl, my mother had mental illness, but every time she went to the doctor with symptoms, they'd tell her that it was stress so much that she'd come home and she said, I'm not even going to go to a doctor again because all they ever want to tell you is that it's stress. And they had it right. Stress is the mother of all this disease and stuff. It starts with the stress that we find ourselves under. So they weren't that wrong back then. So what I would like to share is, or the one thing I would never change is, and my favorite memory that I recall the most is, the people I miss the most in my life are, and if I could help one person in my life, it would be. So I could pick several out of there today. I don't even go over them until I'm going over them with you guys. So I think that I would say if I could help one person in my life, it would be my oldest daughter. I would love to see her hear the message that we all share all the time, and I would like to see her do something to about the way she eats, the way she sleeps, the way she stresses herself. But she is one of those people that's burning the candle at both ends. So if I could help one person, it would be my oldest daughter. Who's next?
If I could help one person in my life, it will be my number 2 daughter. Because she tries, but she needs help. She's overweight and she thinks that she could eat McDonald's and lose weight. And doesn't work that way. But if I could help her, and I've tried so far, but that's the word big problem. I use the word I try. I need to do it. I need to do it and help her. But
Well, you take care of her, I'll take care of the other one.
yes. It's not bad.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay.
Who's next?
Trying to get, I can't get your screen now, honey.
You can't. Well, I'll read them to you. Yeah.
See it, I'm just getting whoever's talking.
Yeah. So you can't see the screen. Can everybody else see the screen?
I just see who's talking.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
The people I miss most in my life are
Oh, yeah.
parents, obviously, my older brother, but my late boyfriend. After my husband died, I met this man, Jeff, and we had 4.5 years before he died, and he became the real love of my life, and he gave me a much more positive outlook when he was told he had 6 months to live with melanoma. He said, we're not going to give in, we're going to fight, and he fought and got another 2.5 years, and he gave me a much more positive outlook. I said, if he didn't complain and he fought, I can do it.
Wow.
Wow.
Still here to encourage me because he made me the happiest I've ever been in my life and feeling of security and a need to keep fighting for everything.
Wow.
Wow.
Great.
What was his name?
Well, his real name was John, but I called him Jeff.
Oh. So how long ago did that happen?
He died about 8 years ago.
Wow. See, that's a person who made an impact. That's great.
4.5 years, and they were the best 4.5 years of my life.
Oh, wow.
Despite the fact that we fought his life. We did things he didn't give in.
That's a great story. Thank you. Who's next?
I'll go.
Okay.
My favorite memory that I recall the most is, and this is a recent memory, but it has just had a great impact on me. We were at family reunion last year, and we were traveling to visit, I think, my grandmother's grave at the time.
Mhm.
Or no, we were traveling. Yeah, we were traveling, and I was in a vehicle, and it was a van. And I was literally in the middle of the van, surrounded by my aunts and my uncles. So I had Aunt Connie and Aunt Mary behind me. I had Aunt Susie and Uncle Tony on either side of me, and Uncle John and Uncle George in front of me. So and I had been out of the family loop for so many years, and even today when I'm feeling discouraged, I just remember the love I felt sitting in the middle of that van.
Aw. We did too, Lisa. Anybody else?
I think the one thing I would never change is starting to take shape from life, because it has been, I think, one of the most, one thing that I have done that has impacted my life. Oh, let's see, since, what did I start? August 2011? August 2011. And it has really made a big difference in my life. You know, there's been other times throughout my life, the choices I make and things, but I think this is one of the most, thing that has done the most to change my life in the last 20 years.
That's awesome. And I know that Connor was born because of Colleen. We all call him a Take Shape for Life baby. And Dick you were on insulin. And so, you know, back then, you know, you made a 360 there. I mean, it's been amazing. You're going through some hard times now because Dick is sick again. But yeah, I can see where that would be the case. Absolutely. It's big in my life. I can't say that. I'm right there with you. Absolutely. Thank you, Marcia. Hey, Bird Mom, is that what you put on your screen? So we don't get.
This way we don't have to do Marsh or Martha.
She says I'm putting Bird Mom so we don't get confused. I didn't even get that when you said it until I got in here tonight. Okay, Bird Mom.
Okay, I'll go with the favorite memory is in 2006, I finally went to Australia, Sydney, and I reconnected with a friend that I hadn't seen in 41 years.
Wow.
And it was just so great to see her all grown. We were adults, and when we last saw each other, we were 13 and 14.
Wow.
Wow.
It was great. It was great.
How long ago was that?
Oh, I went there in 2006.
Wow, that is such a cool story.
And the last time I saw her was 1965.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, high school.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Marcia.
Yeah.
Oh, Bird Mom. Dorothy, Don, one of you?
Dawn?
I would have several of these.
Yeah.
The people I miss the most in my life is for sure number one, my dad, and my grandma and grandpa.
Yep.
We were always a very close knit. I kind of miss the whole when Dad was alive and when we lived down here, we did a whole lot more family stuff. And my brothers have everybody's kind of gone off and done their own thing, and we don't do as much family stuff anymore, you know, since my dad's not around. It's like, I don't know, boys if Dad said it was going to happen, then it would happen. And now it's like, we don't do things the same. So my dad, of course, is the one that I miss the most. My brother, my little brother is the person I would help the most. And even more so than my grandma, because one thing that I would never change is faith in God. And I know my grandmother has that without questionable doubt. And so do I. And, you know, that's what keeps me alive. And I would like to share, like we were talking about, is we can no longer trust that a medical doctor, what they say. You have to research on your own, because it's not like it used to be. They don't learn the same stuff in school. They don't think the same. They don't treat you the same. And you have to look out for yourself. And you can't take for granted that what they're telling you is true. You have to make sure what they're telling you is true.
Well, thank you.
So,
I enjoyed that a lot.
Mm.
She tied it all together. That was nice. How about you, Dorothy?
Well, first, I'd like to say that Marcia and I started at the same time because I started in August of 11. Yeah, we started at the same time. I would have to say, well, it's obvious the person I miss the most. But the one thing that I would never change is I would never change the man I chose to marry, because he changed my life. He really did. He took me from the child of an alcoholic, and my mother was wonderful and presented religion in my life always, because she's always been strong that way. But my dad drank, and I didn't have a lot of confidence when I got married, and my husband taught me how to stand up for myself. Of course, it created a lot of problems for him because I was always fighting him to stand up for myself.
It's funny.
There we go. So that's everybody now, right? That was nice. I missed that last week. I'm so glad we went back to it this week. Next thing on the agenda is the challenge. And I'm not having to do so much this time. It's like a well-oiled machine. Cheryl's not here tonight. I just noticed that. She's always here. She must be busy this week. I have to check on her. We have 326 teams. We have found our way to third place. And over where on your challenge page, I'm trying to move this thing so it's not in the way, blocking what I'm talking about. On the challenge page where it says participation equals results, that's always folded. You can see that I have it open there, but that's where you can view all your points. Different ones of us are talking about that were short points, and the way to see which points you're short is by clicking there, and it has it listed day by day. If you're missing any points, you can simply go up and contact us and tell them what points you're missing, and they'll correct that for you. Dorothy is she's the latest one I talked to, and she's missing 5 points. But
Can I share here?
Huh?
Can I share here right quick?
Go
Something
ahead.
I noticed. The last 3 days when I'm going in and earning my points, at the top, showing the correct amount of points, but down in the bottom where everybody is listed, it's not showing them all. So I'm having to refresh to make them appear on the bottom. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but I feel like that's where some people might be missing some points. There's
I have to refresh.
I'm missing 5, and I have no idea. I already looked at my points, and I don't know where the 5 is.
That could
so
be.
am I.
I think I got those 5 in the last game.
Yeah, I told her they're making what happened in the other game.
Listen, what I do is I go from challenge 4, go back there, and then come back to the other one, and it changes automatically. It goes right down to the bottom.
Okay, Dawn, you were saying something?
But
Go to
I
the
think I'm missing 5 points, and I don't know why.
go to the room.
Have you checked the what have you reviewed your points?
I did.
No, but I did earlier when I noticed. I haven't checked it lately, but I've been down 5 points for a while,
You're
and I don't know why.
you're up 5
That's what I was trying to tell y'all, is that I have got all my points every day, but the last thing that I always do is the team wall reply post. And when I do that, the points show up at the top under the total points. But then when I scan down and I look at all the faces where our points are at, it's 5 points short until I refresh. I have to go totally out of the team room into the challenge wall and go back, and then it fixes it. So that's
that's
probably where
what- Yes,
Look at
challenges.
mine every day. I'm 5 points short from everybody else.
What's the maximum you could possibly have right now?
It would be 725.
Okay, so I have to check mine.
So I don't know what I have now. I can check.
All right. Yeah. So the weigh-in has ended on the 24th. Let's see. The challenge ends. May 22nd will be when the challenge ends. And the inviting has ended. And the next date we're going to worry about is May 20th when we start weighing out, and I'll make everybody aware of that when the time comes.
I have 720.
So, Dorothy, I can get with you, and if we can figure yours out, then we might can figure everybody else's out. So we're
How
gonna,
many do I have, Mom?
huh?
You have
Ask her to see how many.
Dawn has
Oh,
725.
So you have
okay,
725.
thank you.
Did anybody have a problem?
Okay.
One day this week, I went in to do my points, and they were
Done,
all
right?
completed.
They were what?
It said they were all completed for the day. It wouldn't let me do anything.
Here's what I was wondering, Gail. Did you go in after 3 in the morning and do points, and then miss them for the day before? But they took them for that day. If you do it after 3, wait, yeah,
I
you're
didn't do
on.
it after 3. I did it about 10 to 3 the night before,
Mm-hmm.
because all of a sudden I realized what time it was and that I hadn't done them. So it was 10 to 3 when I did them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was before 3.
Okay. I'm thinking something like that might have happened, but why don't I contact Meltdown Challenge and ask them? I wanted to have a conversation with you before I wrote them, and they can see everything. So I will write them and see what kind of feedback I can get from them, because that's a good question for them to even know. So.
Yeah, because the next night I went in early before, that happened again, that I was late.
Yeah.
Not late, but later in the evening.
Yeah, you're a hoot owl. I don't even worry about you. I know you're going to get them. I get up the next morning and you're done. So the webinars that they've been doing in the challenge itself, I really like them myself. I feel like I'm being coached by them. And this week's webinar, they have a lot going on now, and with our webinar too, I feel bad for everybody because it gets to be too much. But what's too much of a good thing? And so I'm just making all the stuff they're making available, and what you can do, and anything that we don't get when it's live, we'll always have the recording and make it up if we can. This week it's going to be a mover and a shaker. So anybody want to comment on those trainings that they're doing, the webinars?
Awesome.
They're awesome. They're great.
So mostly everybody in here has attended them. I know I won't miss any of them. I like them. Tonight at 9 o'clock, they're going to have Dan Bell, which is the person that works side by side, hand in hand with Dr. Anderson. He's the person who wrote the compensation plan for the whole organization of Take Shape for Life. And this is the first time of that this is happening, and he's literally going to be live doing a question and answering and explaining the offering when it comes to the health coaching portal. We have 2 portals that we actually practice, and one is the weight loss portal and one is the health coach portal, where you're paying it forward, helping other people. Some people help one person and other people get in it and change their life, not just on a financial level, but also on you can't help but have a happier life when what you're doing is resulting in changing the lives of others. And I speak that because of my own personal experience, and I'm sure that Dorothy and Marcia could add to that what it feels like when you've helped another person.
Yeah.
So I have posted the links to this inside the challenge room, and also at the Huddle Up and in the support room. And for the benefit of people who may not have heard this, we have our support group that's a private secret group. We have the Huddle Up, which is a secret group. the people who are on the program and also been in challenges are in the huddle up. The people who are in the support group are only people who have been in the program. So a lot of people get confused why we have those two rooms. But those of us that were in the first challenge, we know that they, when that challenge was ending, that we didn't want to separate. We wanted to stay together when the challenges weren't taking place. So we created another secret room and called it the Huddle Up. And that's where we stay. That's where we communicate with people who have been in challenges, or if somebody is interested in what we do in challenges, that room is open. You can add people to that room anytime you want to, if they just want to get in there and mingle with us, get a few health facts. But you are capable of adding people to that room if you want to. All right, now we're going to move on to Beyond Your Biology. Tony is here for the first time, so he's missed the first three. The one thing I want to talk to you about is the live calls. And the live calls were done at the end of each week. And the one for the end of the week you just finished was with Dr. Will. And I have made a Zoom of it so I could just play it. It's because this is just a recording. It was live, but it wasn't Zoom. It was just simply him talking and a moderator opening a line so people could ask him questions. This particular one is 53 minutes, so it's nothing I'm going to cover like this in a group, but I am going to make it available inside the challenge room. I'm not going to make it available in the huddle or the support group because I feel like this is copyrighted material and I don't want to abuse it. We all are using it because we're going through and doing the challenge. I'll post it in there, and when I post it, you're going to get an email. You get an email every time I do a post in the room that's up there where the coach's comment is. And at your leisure, save that email, and you can listen to this. And it's well worth it because these are calls of people calling in, identifying problems that they have, and him giving his best advice. I really love these live calls that they get. We'll go back to the first lesson where we did the Optimize Your Biology. And down at the end of that, where the last section, they have a journal. And in that journal, they ask, we invite you to reflect on your patterns of awareness. In what area does your awareness feel constricted? In what areas does your awareness feel expanded? And what is one small shift you can make to expand your awareness? That is in direct relation to what we have finished in the first lessons of Beyond Your Biology. So if you want to do this at your leisure, it's where your awareness feels constricted, where your awareness has expanded, and what is one small shift you can make to expand your awareness? I took those and I did write them. I have the journal and it's kept for me right online here. But I found that doing that after every lesson was very beneficial. So we're going to start lesson 2, and we're going to start with why chronic inflammation matters. Tell me if you can hear it. Everybody can hear it? Okay. Whoops.
Now I can't.
Okay, I turned it off because I did something.
We all know inflammation on the surface of the body. It's local heat, redness, swelling, and pain at an area that's been injured or is under attack. Inflammation is actually the cornerstone of the body's healing system. It's how the body gets more nourishment and more immune activity to an area that needs it. But inflammation is so powerful and it's so potentially destructive that it's very important that it stay where it's supposed to stay and end when it's supposed to end. If inflammation serves no purpose, if it persists, it becomes productive of disease. And I think there is growing evidence that chronic low-level imperceptible inflammation throughout the body is the root cause of most of the diseases of aging that I spoke about earlier. For example, coronary artery disease begins as inflammation in the lining of arteries. And it may be that cholesterol deposits in arteries are a secondary process, that this may actually be a flawed healing attempt of the body that's trying to patch areas damaged by inflammation. Alzheimer's disease begins as inflammation in the brain. That's why anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen have a preventive effect in Alzheimer's disease. It may also be why the incidence of Alzheimer's disease is lowest in rural India than in almost any other part of the world. And the reason seems to be that Indians eat turmeric at every meal. And turmeric is the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory agent that's been found. And cancer is linked here as well, because anything that increases inflammation in the body simultaneously increases cell proliferation. You can't disentangle these two processes. And whenever cells proliferate, whenever they divide more frequently, the risk of malignant transformation is increased. The reason that aspirin has a very significant preventive effect on many kinds of cancers, colon cancer, esophageal cancer, for example, is that it's an anti-inflammatory agent. So the good news here is that if chronic low-level inflammation is the root cause of these big bad diseases that become more frequent as we get older and are responsible for a great deal of premature disability and death, then there's a single strategy for reducing the risk and delaying the onset of all these diseases, and that is by containing inappropriate inflammation in the body. Now, there's many influences on the inflammatory process. There are genetic influences, environmental influences. There are many toxins in the environment, like secondhand smoke, that are pro-inflammatory. Stress has an influence on inflammation, but diet has a huge impact. And I think it's very easy to make the case that the mainstream North American diet is strongly pro-inflammatory. It gives us the wrong kinds of fats, the wrong kinds of carbohydrates, and not enough of the protective elements, mostly found in fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices, that help reduce inflammation. So making dietary change is one of the most effective ways of containing inappropriate inflammation. I always urge people to look through their pantries, look around the kitchen, and to try to eliminate items that may contribute to inflammation. And often that's the wrong kinds of cooking oils, the wrong kinds of carbohydrate foods, and especially processed foods that may have unhealthful additives in them.
Any food that is processed, manufactured, refined, has high sugar content, contains steroids, antibiotics, hormones, pesticides, insecticides, which are petroleum products, and in my opinion, even GMO, this will disturb the ecosystem, the microbiome, and pesticides, of course, being petroleum products, they cause inflammation. So any diet that is basically factory produced or industrially produced food will cause inflammation in the body. The only way to offset this is through anti-inflammatory food, which means organic farming, organic produce. If you're not a vegetarian, then animals that haven't been poisoned with antibiotics and hormones and steroids, and of course the same inflammatory products that go into agricultural food production. So a movement in the direction of farm to table, movement favoring plant-based foods, movement that uses foods that are prebiotics, which are essentially any food that has high fiber content, and also fermented foods like yogurt, but also kimchi, kombucha, tea, vegetables like broccoli and celery and spinach, anything that has fiber. And there are Ayurvedic herbs like triphala, like gugulu, like amlaki, which all influence the microbiome. So an anti-inflammatory diet would be composed of all those. High fiber, plant-based foods, some fermented foods, probiotics, prebiotics, and in the future, what we hope to create through our research, symbiotics, a combination of all these, and healthy flora that we find in healthy young human microbial population. Ayurvedic diets are generally always anti-inflammatory, and so Ayurvedic diets that we use, for example, in our Perfect Health program, they're all totally anti-inflammatory.
So, anybody learn anything there? Oh, I gotta unmute everybody. Hold on a minute. I got fancy. I know how to do this now. Now we go. We're all learning.
I learned I'm in trouble because everything they mentioned there, I don't like to eat, can't eat, so I'm in trouble. I'll have to figure it out.
Well, here's what's nice about this, Lisa, is all of the Medifast products are anti-inflammatory. And we do move you towards whole food. If we can take someone and transition them out of the Medifast products into whole food, that's our first choice. But if you don't have time, that's a factor. In your case, it's texture and taste. You don't do those, and you've commented, I don't know how many times, that because of being undernourished, that you feel like the fact that you nourished your body with the Medifast products might be the reason that you're recovering to the point that you are. I know that Bird Mom doesn't like to cook, and I would dare say that what she's enjoyed about the Medifast product is the accessibility and the convenience. Is that right, Marsh?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and as I'm going through this program, which has to be the best thing that I've found available for teaching us about how the body works, is that it falls right, and I think everybody's going to see this as we go along. Anybody that's done our program will see that what they're talking about is the very thing that Dr. Anderson has created in our product. And then the ultimate goal is to move us to less stress, more sleep, more water, over to whole foods. And the Medifast products are the vehicle to get us back to the healthy weight, get our bodies in balance, and then allow us to make our choices from then on, like a new beginning. Anybody else have anything they want to say?
I'm loving this. I'm learning so much. I can't sit here and put into words, but I think you're right. It does go along with the Take Shape for Life and the principles that we're embracing there. And I'm really loving and appreciating this.
Yeah, me too. So
And for me, he hit on the head where what I do. That's how I diet. That's my, healthy eating style. So.
Well, there was a lot of things there I never heard of.
Right?
A lot of things that he showed I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kombucha and those things.
Mm-hmm. I go back and listen. I don't even mind doing this another time with all of you. And Dawn, I think about you when I'm listening to this and how much I've heard from you that I hear in this as well. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's because Mom and I had this conversation this morning because at the doctor's appointment yesterday, some people, I noticed that something new that the doctor had added in the office, and his staff said, well, how did you know that's what he was doing? And just because I'm injured and I have this problem, my brain doesn't stop. I still know what I know, and I keep wanting to learn every day, and I try to, find something new to add to what's already rolling around on the inside of my brain. And because in my mind, someday I'm going to be able to do what I do, that I believe with every ounce of my being that God intended me to do to help people. And I'm going to do it again someday, and, not have attacks, or, at least be able to help a couple people 3, 4, 5 a week or whatever, and be able to support myself and whatever. So it's, what he said today was like very, very good. And anybody that doesn't know about those certain foods that he was talking about once you get into the whole food part of it, you need to know about those things because they're very important in the gut flora, and that's where you want to make sure you have disease, and that's what you're getting through Medifast, because the inflammation and the nutrients and the supplements that they have in there, they make sure that you get. But when you get into whole foods, you gotta make sure you get the same amount of things once you get off of it, if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah. Thank you, Don. So here we go. Let's go to the next slide. There we go. Success story. So today, because we're having that webinar with Dan Bell tonight, I decided I would do a success story that involved one of our coaches. And so, with no further ado, let me introduce them to you.
We've been together since we were 15 years old, so we do things that friends would go do. You know, we love to go like play video games.
She's really good at buck hunter.
I am good at buck hunter.
We met in 9th grade.
I was a new girl.
The new girl that caught my eye.
Now, 19 years later, we have an incredible life. After we'd been married about 5 years, we moved to Portland, Oregon, and I went to work as a nurse.
When Jessica was working at the hospital, it was a tough job.
My waist size wasn't increasing, but I was not healthy on the inside. I was sick.
Oh, there they are. Get them. Yeah.
I was turning into what I was desperately trying to prevent for people.
After we had our first child, she stayed home, and then we had Eli a couple years later.
I started thinking about going back to work. And of course, I've always had that passion for health and wellness and helping others, so that was in the forefront of what I wanted to do. I was going through my Facebook feed one day, and I saw one of my good friends, Susan LaBelle. She kept posting all these things about the people she was helping, and I thought, I got to talk to her about this. I called her up, and we met for coffee, and I learned about Take Shape for Life. You know, going into it, yeah, I kind of thought it was one of those diet things. But sitting there listening, the first thing I did was think about the people in my life that I could help with this program. And so it was a perfect marriage of the professional, passionate environment that I wanted to get back into of health and wellness, and getting to be the mom and wife that I want to be. And the great thing is I can talk to my clients when it fits around our life. Hi, ladies. All right, we're all on here. How are you guys doing today? Good? Good? Awesome. Where are you today? Are you out at the park?
We just came by to see great-grandma and great-grandpa.
Awesome. So now when I really look back at my decision to become a health coach and to leave nursing, I feel that I've been able to make the impact that I wanted to make in people's lives. Helping them stay out of the hospital, helping them create health in their life before it's too late.
And that is that. Isn't that a great story?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's get out of this and get out of this. And let's get ready for our evening. Oh my gosh, it's a full room. I love it. I love that you guys show up here for us. It's what makes it possible for other people to see it later. Thank you, Tony. Look at him in the middle there, all surrounded by women.
That's just the way he likes it too.
I had a friend come by and say that she was his girlfriend. I said, you and a bunch of others. And she says, I think you need to make a frame and put Tony in the middle and put all his girlfriends around it. So, I might. But before we sign off tonight, go ahead, honey. I didn't mean to stop you.
It is I believe in a lot of hugging. People should be hugged. So all the people that I know go, so what? You know, I see him and say, oh, come here, you have to have a hug. So they always become my girlfriends because they need to have the hugs. And I like to do 7 or 8 hugs a day. More, I like about 12 or 15 hugs.
Well, that's what they say you need is 15 hugs a day. That's actually a habit of health, Tony.
Yes, good.
Well, you know,
I don't know
yeah, it's a shame that we have gotten to where we don't touch as we did in days past. It's you know, it's called proper and improper behavior. And I knew Tony for 2 years, and we were friends. And he's a really good friend to girls. And so when we married him, I'd known him as a friend first. So I didn't have no reaction to the hugging and all the women liking him and them being friends and stuff, because I couldn't imagine if he couldn't have been my friend. And I think that sometimes we're too possessive of each other. And I'm really glad that Tony and I didn't have that problem. And he can have all his girlfriends. He goes home with me.
That's the important.
Also said you will fail this course if you don't hug each other while you're in class at least 5 times. So before we started hugging everybody in class, and that's what he believed hugging makes your day a lot better.
When did you take this class?
Huh?
When did you take this class?
Oh gosh, let's see. I was in working on my master's degree.
Yeah.
in education.
So you were a kid. You learned it young.
Yeah. Oh, I've already been out of the service. You know, so I was in this doing my thing.
So it's not a secret. All right, then what I'm going to do is say goodnight to everyone, and I hope you make that call at 9 o'clock. The links are posted for you. Whether you ever want to be a coach or not, it's a really good insight into what happens in that second portal that you may never be interested in. It would be you could be like a fly on the wall and listen. But I know Lisa's going, and I know Leslie's going. I'll be there. Dorothy might be there. Marcia, you know about it at 9 o'clock? Yeah. Okay.
Martha or Marcia?
Marcia, I call. We got Bird Mom now.
No, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
you got your prayer cup, Marcia.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
What did she say? What do you have up?
She gave me 2 dishes with my name on it, with Marcia on it.
Aw.
Yeah, that was so nice.
Well, that's really cool.
There's
All
the
right,
one
guys.
thing in there.
Is that the one in the back over there?
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's cool. All right. So I'm going to say sayonara, adios, au revoir. Anybody got any more?
До свидания.
Avita thing.
До свидания.
Okay, everybody seeing this tomorrow. That call's going to be over with because it's tonight. But I will post the recorded version in there for anybody that wants to catch it after.
Good.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Catch you,
Bye.
everybody.
9 o'clock.